still in Santa Fe, New Mexico. The Alec Baldwin hearing now taking place as the trial is kind of on hold. Motion to dismiss brought by the defense, and they're going to queue up some witnesses. And while they do that, we're going to prepare you for that by laying a little foundation about what happened this morning when the motion was brought by the defense. Luke Nickus, he is laying out for the court why he thinks this thing needs to go away. Here we go.
Care about that matched the bullet that killed Halyna Hutchins. We heard, Your Honor, what Ms. Popple did with it. They buried it. I'd like to say charitably that it was under the pile of the 5501 information that they didn't disclose, but that's even too charitable because they put it under a different case with a different number. We asked March 26th, we want all of the ammunition from the Rust set that you've collected. April 16th, we show up for that viewing. We want all the live ammunition from the Rust set that you collected. It's not there. After Teskey had turned it in, after Ms. Popple had created the report, the supplemental report she said she created when she took this in and did not disclose to us, it was not there. Now, Your Honor, we don't know if it's a live ammunition match or not. But what we do know is the state had it, it's disclosable under Giglio, it's disclosable under 5501. And there's a case on point, Your Honor, State versus Allison, where a criminal defendant had been charged with conspiracy, aggravated assault, dishonest related crimes, and he had an arrest record in the prosecution's possession. He had a statement and an arrest record. It was not disclosed under 5501. The criminal defendant shows up at trial and testifies. He's a great guy, honest, no criminal record. The prosecution whips out his arrest record and his statement, disclosable under 5501, which it never disclosed, and said not true. Court breaks. Defendant says, you didn't disclose that under 5501. And the prosecution says, who cares? He's up on the stand lying. This would not have been favorable to him at all. And so, Judge, I want a continuance. Give them a continuance. That's their remedy. Come back tomorrow. I'll disclose everything. I'll make it all right. And then we'll continue. Trial court says, fine, I'll give you that continuance. Limited remedy. You'll have all the information. Do with it what you will. If it's negative, fine. If it's not, that's for you to use at trial. He's convicted. It gets appealed. It ends up in the Supreme Court of New Mexico. That decision was reversed. A continuance is not adequate in those circumstances. They're in the middle of trial. The defendant would have done things differently. The defendant would have opened differently, would have asked questions differently. Too much about where the source, in this case, of the live bullet came in before this was presented at trial. The court said it doesn't matter if the defendant knew or should have known of it. What we're talking about here is not the defendant's knowledge, not whether it matches, not whether his criminal arrest record would have hurt him or not. We're talking about the conduct of the prosecution. And that's exactly what we're talking about here, Your Honor. We're talking about a prosecution that didn't preserve those bullets, that didn't collect them at all, that didn't turn them over, that we already have a 5501 culpability finding with respect to the last set of information. And, Your Honor, the bottom line is we've got 5501 violation, culpability. We don't need to show bad faith. We've got a Brady violation. We've got a Giglio violation. Now, this is critical evidence in the case that was never disclosed to us. We heard Ms. Morrissey say, I'm going to have Detective Hancock come in and testify. We could have Ms. Popple testify. They could say it doesn't match, et cetera, et cetera. It does not matter. It did not matter in Allison. We were entitled to it. A continuance is not a sufficient remedy. This case should be dismissed, Your Honor. This is over and over and over and over again. And Your Honor, you've given them a fair chance.
It just smells bad, you know. The ultimate impact on this trial, who knows? But, you know, Catherine Lizardo and Dave Ehrenberg, let me give you final thoughts on this. Dave, once they sort this out with the testimony to come, what's your best guess as to what's going to happen?
The prosecution is going to get a tongue lashing. The law enforcement will get a tongue lashing, and then the case will move on. They'll get a little delay so that the defense can get the information that they were entitled to, and then it will move on because there's no evidence that this was a scheme to hide evidence.
So, Catherine, same question to you, except, you know, give me your 30-second version of how bad this would be for the defense if they just get shut down here.
Well, if they get shut down here, it's bad for them because this was one of the big issues that they presented, and they were able to misdirect the trial right now. I'm using misdirect because we're focusing on a separate trial instead of the main trial.
We're going to find out. Stand by, folks, for this hearing to continue. But before that, let me thank and excuse Catherine and Dave. Always a pleasure, folks. We'll see you next time here on the network. Coming up next, Ann Jeanette Levy with the very famous and popular Q&A about this trial. I'm Michael Bryant. Try to do the right thing. See you next time on Long Crime.